Part 107. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 1071. Chapter 1058, You ask me. How is it, you perverted shameless man, the witch goddess is really ashamed and out of wit, screaming out loud. You actually dived into the gate of Deng Xianzong. Wei Suo took a deep breath and snorted, Where is Han Wei? At the same time, he reached out and captured all the treasures and other objects in the clothes removed by the witch goddess. After sweeping his consciousness, he found that the witch goddess was carrying Han Wei's things. In addition, there is only a stone bridge-shaped simple implement, blue-gray, cannot see any use. She has been killed by me. You killed me, the witch goddess screamed hysterically. Impossible, Wei Suo's whole body was cold, but he didn't completely lose his calm. Unless you kill all of her and Xuanhuan Yunwei. With your cultivation practice, she will kill her silently. It is also possible that it is simply impossible to kill Xuanhuan Yunwei without causing any drastic fluctuations in vitality. Quickly, what the do you do with her? Don't I have mystery to restrain? Can't I feel that she has a unique spiritual connection with a high-level monster with my supernatural powers? I just have the means to kill her without letting her be killed. The monster senses, if you want revenge, kill me, the witch goddess yelled like crazy. If you really kill her, I will never kill you for revenge. It's so simple. You're not conceited, you sneak in without knowing it, do you want to kill me, but it's not a mistake. Instead, it fell into the hands. I was playing with it without any resistance. Wei Suo's heart also tightened. There are so many mysterious techniques in the world that it is impossible to imagine, and what the witch goddess said is not impossible. But naturally he would not believe the witch goddess in this regard. He took a deep breath and said it coldly, when attacking the witch goddess's heart, although you have changed your appearance, this body and consciousness have always been its you. I will give you another chance, if you want to talk nonsense now. I can even take you out immediately and throw you to all the monks of the Tianjianzong. I think these tens of thousands of monks of the immortal Zhongzong don't want to try it in person. What is the taste of having with God Xian Nu Xiu? Under my orders, they dare not have any rejection. By the time the King of Fire territory comes over tomorrow, I don't know how many monks of Dengxianzong can kiss Fang's Wei at the same time, Suo said very viciously. You are not human, the witch goddess screamed. I will have the same appearance as Han Wei in the next 20 hours, so bear with me. The witch goddess's call was interrupted by Wei Suo's fierce collision. You must know the importance of Han Wei to me. She and I came from Lingyu City, so I changed to her appearance, so that I don't have any precautions against you at all. But you have to understand that the more important they are to me, the more I love them, the more you hate her, the more I hate you. It is infinite. I can do everything absolutely. I'll ask you the last time, how did you treat her? If you don't say it, I will take you out immediately. Between the words, Wei Suo's figure moved, and she was about to take her flying out. The witch goddess still can't speak, her body can't move, but now she can speak, her body can move, but she can't move, her physical strength can't be compared with Wei Suo, no matter how she struggles, she still has no resistance. Was torn by Wei Suo, especially she has always been high and noble, and at this moment, when she heard Wei Suo's words, all her arrogance and nobility were completely broken, and her heart and mind were completely stubborn. There was no queen's majesty and power, and she screamed in horror. No, I tell you, I didn't kill her. I just restrained her and put it in a remote place in the quiet room. Where is that secluded quiet room? Wei Suo continued to ask, without stopping. It's in a remote palace to the east of the palace where her monster beast is located. The witch goddess has been completely subdued for a moment, saying that there is no sense of resistance. What kind of means did you come in with? Besides you, did anyone else sneak in? Wei Suo clicked on the stone bridge-like ancient artifact found in the narcissus of the witch goddess. What is this? I entered by using the ancient cave forbidden rune. No one else infiltrated. This is an ancient magic weapon that can be used to inspire the real element and instantly send people out. The body of the witch goddess twisted unconsciously, but being trapped by Wei Suo, he couldn't struggle. Yin Liwa, Wei Suo immediately heard a far-reaching voice, and at the same time, he reached out and shot a small wooden ghost-like weapon used for corpse communication. What? In just a moment, Yin Liwa, Jia, and Shui Linger had plundered into the quiet room where the witch goddess placed Han Weiwei. When she opened the quiet room, she saw her motionless Han Weiwei, and she suddenly changed her complexion. Immediately, between the shocking gaze in Yin Liwa's eyes, the magic weapon used for communication was also fired first. As soon as Wei Suo took the magical instrument inspired by Yin Liwa into his hands, his mind swept away, and his expression relaxed. What kind of prohibition do you use? At the same time, he looked at the witch goddess and asked. It's just a normal ban, even if you should be able to forcibly unlock it at this moment. The eyes of the witch goddess are already empty, just asking for a death. Wei Suo, I did not destroy your comrades, you killed me. But her body immediately became tight again and again, constantly transforming the twos Yang Yuan and Yin Yuan into Suansha Yinkai. I have already told you where Han Weiwei is, and you have to humiliate me so much. The witch goddess' head was not sober, and she screamed in such a low voice. If it weren't for her to be in touch with Xuanhuan Yunwei, and someone else might have died in your hands. If you want to kill me in this way, it's just asking you to get back some money. Knowing that Han Weiwei is unharmed, Wei Suo's heart suddenly had some inexplicable pleasure. There are still a lot of Yin Yuan in the body of the witch goddess that has not been transformed, which can enhance his supernatural powers, since he and the witch goddess have already reached this level. Naturally, he could not stop his hand, and when he was in the broken jade ancient territory, his biggest enemy, the witch goddess of the splendid girl of the sky, now has no power to fight back, and he was attacked by his own wanton. He was inexplicable. Happy. The witch goddess shuddered all over. In particular, her body of Shenqian Sishong is also very tyrannical, and Wei Suo can be less careful when controlling Zhen Yuan and Yang Yuan. A character like her, even when she is against the enemy, is threatened with death by the other party. I am afraid it is nothing, and she cannot give in to her. Moreover, even if she is not enemies when she has such a cultivation character, either she will escape, or Shenwei will crash into fly ash, and there is little chance of being captured by the other party. Now this kind of wanton picking without any resistance is the most capable of destroying her majesty and arrogance. Moreover, she was imprisoned, and her physical strength could not compete with Wei Suo. She struggled, and became even softer and weaker, and was filled with a feeling of total weakness in her heart. Wei Suo. A tense voice soon rang outside the white jade hall where Wei Suo and the Wu goddess were located. I have nothing to do. Wei Suo made a slight pause and immediately made a sound. When he heard the news, he said that Han Weiwei, who entered his quiet room, was pretending to be a witch goddess, and he had been restrained by him. But the cultivation skills and magical powers of the witch goddess are amazing, and they are amazing enemies. Yin Liwa and others are obviously very worried, and they all rushed over. Do you want to call them all at this moment to see how the witch goddess looks like to me? Wei Suo originally wanted to say something again, saying he would go out soon, because of the power of this girl Pei Yuan Dan. It is very amazing. It takes a lot of time for him to cast Xiansha and transform it into Yin Yuan. But at the moment Yin Liwa, Jia and other people's voices sounded one after another, seeing that the face of the witch goddess was obviously more frightened and shameless, Wei Suo's heart moved, but he said this intentionally. Even the female emperor such as the witch goddess was attacked by him without resistance. As if he was subdued by him, he was really more arrogant, and he had already thought of the goddess of the witch goddess. If it could make the witch goddess evolve guidance, he is likely to have a time to engrave a divine pattern before the of fire territory comes, and the witch goddess also realizes that there are 3 avenue powers. For him, the witch goddess is indeed a huge treasure trove. So he deliberately said this at the moment. He wanted to completely subdue the proud female nun, let the female emperor fall into the dust, let her mental state have a larger gap, and break her mental state more thoroughly. Don't. Sure enough, upon hearing his words, the body of the witch goddess shrank suddenly, and a cry of mercy was made again. It's not up to you to decide. If you ask me, I will consider not letting them in. I beg you, don't let them in. The witch goddess's state of mind was completely broken, completely without the queen's domineering and majesty, and made a pleading voice like a maid. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 1072. Chapter 1059, Completely Tame. As soon as Wei Suo heard the begging of the witch goddess, he knew that the arrogance of this extremely proud emperor had been completely suppressed by him, and his state of mind had been completely broken. Since you are begging me, I will tell them not to come in. Wei Suo nodded and uttered a voice to the outside, I'm questioning her something, please do your own thing for now. I'm going to beg him, I'm going to beg him. When the witch goddess begged, she felt like she couldn't believe it. Why is your Xuanhuan so ample? Are you also a unique body? Wei Suo did not stop, deliberately said this again, and continued to attack the state of mind of the witch goddess. He knew that this kind of thing was just like the female nuns who were forced to do 700 spirits for one time for various reasons. The first 2 times must be resisted by death, but the resistance again and again is not useful at all. After the big humiliation, it is basically a broken jar, and it is basically to accept it. Even if you give the spirit stone, you can, no matter how many people you come at once, you cannot treat me as a person tonight. Now he just wants to break the witch goddess's mood again and again, so that she no longer has any arrogance and resistance in front of him. While saying this, his hands are still on the witch goddess. Stopped walking, even used many of the stimulating methods such as electric light, poison dragon and Yulong Dian Shui that were often used by Ji Ya, Han Weiwei, etc., so that they were not developed at all and never experienced such physical pleasures. The entertaining witch goddess was tense and her breathing stopped. She wanted to cry, but she was so ashamed that she did not dare to cry out, and even made a whine. But Wei Suo did not say this nonsense. At the moment, he exerted Xuanxia, and obviously felt that even if there is no medicine for the female Pei Yuan Dan, the Yuanyin of the witch goddess does not know how much it is thicker than the ordinary female nuns. I am afraid that even Han Weiwei cannot compare with her. The witch goddess wanted to say and refused to say, breathing every meal, as if to suffocate. Why, if you ask me, if you don't answer, you still want them to come in and see what you are doing at this time. Wei Suo thinks that he is now a bully who bullies a man and a woman. Lost in defeat, because the key to tomorrow's battle is probably whether the witch goddess can be completely subdued, or whether another tattoo can be carved into it. With the cultivation and state of mind of the witch goddess, that is, such a situation of 2 great ups and downs, he will be conquered by him for a while. If it lasts for a long time, I am afraid that she will completely get rid of it. It is difficult to make a difference. So now Wei Suo is simply going to do the bully in the end. Both hands must be grasped, and everything must be hard. It turns out that she is 100 or 10 years old, and she is not too old to practice the exercises. Wei Suo was slightly surprised, but the monk had no concept of age. In Sanmen Avenue, the qualifications are also very amazing. More than 100 years of practice, plus she is already a 4-fold body of Shenxian, and the Yuanyin accumulated in her body is naturally not comparable to that of ordinary female practitioners. What you said, I didn't understand. Wei Suo understood at a glance, but he deliberately attacked the witch goddess mood and said loudly, Hurry up. Wei Suo's fingers swept over some of her sensitive parts again, threatening her without giving any breathing opportunities. I have never been treated by other men have done so. My Yuanyin has so much savings, Naturally it is more than the average women. The witch goddess's brain is almost blank, almost shy and angry. Out of this sentence. It turns out so, Wei Suo's eyes flashed, and he said this deliberately. The witch goddess even forced him to say it, showing that his mind had completely collapsed. Witch goddess, as long as you listen to me and surrender to my words, I can spare you not to die. Looking at this beautiful girl who had completely collapsed, Wei Suo continued. You are so kind to me and you want me to surrender to you, but suddenly, upon hearing Wei Suo's words, the eyes of the witch goddess closed tightly, and tears burst into tears, but suddenly opened. Come back like a god, drink loudly. You want to use me? I will never let you succeed. Tomorrow when the god of fire territories arrives, you will also be destroyed. Then, as if she was completely sober, she made an accurate judgment, and her eyes were firm. Got up. Oops. I didn't think I underestimated her. Wei Suo's brow jumped sharply, and the mental state of the witch goddess still greatly exceeded his expectations. Unexpectedly, it was his sentence, the witch goddess was already. I regained my state of mind and suddenly got out. I'm giving you a chance to choose. You have to know that if I want you to do it, it's useless even if you don't want it. But Wei Suo's expression hasn't changed much. With the export of some strange scales, a golden Buddha statue appeared above his head, emitting a circle of Buddha light, which shrouded the witch goddess. The witch goddess's eyes had just flashed a fierce, open look, but this moment, it was instantly replaced by incomparable panic. Do you know what I mean? This is the Purdue light of the King of Merit. Even the legacy of the Patriarch of Dengxianzong has been cast and refined by us. So I can safely refine the Xiangxiantai, and he completely obtained his Dao jurisdiction. With your cultivation practice, you can't resist the Purdue divine light. If I and Xuanhuan Patriarch work together to display it, you will be me completely before the arrival of the fire domain tomorrow. Person, I want you to do whatever you want, just do what you want, even if you let you kneel and call my master, do anything shameful. In fact, according to the practice of the witch goddess, even one day, even Weizhuo, it is impossible to wipe out the consciousness of the witch goddess after all the efforts are exerted, because after all, the witch goddess is a complete consciousness, unlike the Patriarch Dengxianzong who only left the remaining wool. But Wei Suo looked directly at the witch goddess. His eyes are straightforward and arrogant, and he is extremely domineering, just like talking about undoubted facts. What do you want me to do? This time, the witch goddess suddenly lost all her thoughts of resistance, and the idea of just burning up with Wei Suo's jade just now was gone. Since you infiltrated this time and discussed with the god of fire territory, does anyone else come besides the god of fire territory and Abi god, Prince Xuanhuan and Zantai Linglan? Wei Suo knows the witch goddess. The only point of rebellion has been defeated again, and I didn't say much, I asked directly. Except for a few of them, the Fire King god has a friend coming, and his cultivation practice is similar to mine. My magic weapon originally used for escape was obtained from him. The witch goddess has been completely like a weak woman, sobbing a little, dare not hide anything. There is also a fourfold power of Shenxian. Wei Suo's face suddenly changed slightly. What is that person's identity? I don't know. The person's identity is also very mysterious. The god of fire territory acted very carefully. It seemed that he didn't want to reveal the person's identity at all. The witch goddess said with her eyes closed, breathing a little. This sentence was just finished. She yelled again for mercy, but when Wei Suo pressed her, the rest of the actions did not stop at all. She was still performing Suansha, still wantonly teasing her love desire. Have the other few people already arrived? Wei Suo continued to ask. They have all been together in one place, the witch goddess replied with some difficulty, breathing. The divine pattern you gave me, what kind of divine pattern is it? Did you understand the three kinds of divine jurisdictions that I have played against the enemy? Which of the three divine jurisdictions is the god? The pattern is relatively simple, Wei Suo repeatedly asked. The other party even had a mysterious Shenqian Si coming, which for them, the situation suddenly became very nervous. The divine pattern I gave you is the Dao jurisdiction of one Yuan Qinqin. I really only understood the 3 Dao jurisdictions, and the other 2 are the Dao jurisdiction of Heavenly Heart and Miao Kong Shenhua. The woman's voice was a little weird even when she heard it, but her mind was completely destroyed. She had to ask questions, and she was afraid to miss any of Wei Suo's questions. Among the 3 patterns, it is still one Yuan Qinqin. The sacred pattern is the simplest. It seems that the one you gave me was originally the divine pattern of one of the 3 most powerful avenues in your area. Wei Suo looked at the witch goddess and said this. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 1073. Chapter 1060. As soon as the vest was in front of the witch goddess wanted to reach out and grab, but her body was so weak that she couldn't even hold it. When seeing Wei Suo's eyes, the witch goddess suddenly subconsciously wanted to cover his important parts first. What is covered? Do I have anything else I can't see? But Wei Suo was very domineering and reached out directly, grabbed her, and then put the vest over her. What exactly do you want to do to me? The witch goddess had no desire to resist at this moment, just trembling with fear. How I treat you depends on how you choose next. Wei Suo deliberately grabbed her waist. The body of the witch goddess shuddered violently, but did not dare to reach out to stop Wei Suo's movements. It was actually sneaked in by the witch goddess. It was only a moment. Not only Xuanhuan Patriarch and Jia, but also Lu Lao, who had refined the daughter Pei Yuandan, plundered into the quiet room of Wei Suo. There is such a magic weapon, it is impossible to distinguish it. While seeing a witch goddess exactly like Han Weiwei, everyone was surprised. At the moment, Han Weiwei was also beside Jia and others. Indignantly, the breath on her body was normal. Obviously, her prohibition had been directly solved by Xuanhuan Patriarch and others. Now the breath of the 2 people can be said to be exactly the same. If you close your eyes and use light to perceive, you can't tell which is the real Han Weiwei. That girl, Pei Yuandan, let her eat it? So you found Weizhuo, and you restrain him so easily. Seeing the pair of witch goddess still trembling slightly and unable to stand up standing, Lu Lao reacted as if he had discovered a novel Danfang, and called out. Lu Lao's cry came out, and the sorrow goddess, who originally dared not look squarely at anyone, looked down suddenly, and she dared not look at anyone at all. She was infiltrated by an ancient charm of the god of fire territory. She had previously been in contact with the god of fire territory. Wei Suo did not have any nonsense, and his expression was somewhat dignified. The king of fire territory has now gathered together with Abi Shenjun, Master Xuanhuan, and Zantai Linglan. Beside him, there is also a 4-fold power of Shenqian. The other party still has a 4-level power of Shenqian. Wei Suo said this, and all the people present were taken aback, knowing the seriousness of the matter. And the identity of the 4 great powers of the divine profound mystery is very mysterious. In addition to the Fire King, Shi and Xuanhuangzi did not even know the origin of that person. This person may also have a unique magical power, not a general monk. Wei Suo nodded, but took out the ancient stone bridge-like instrument again, turned his head to look at the witch goddess and asked, this instrument can make several people escape in an instant. This magic weapon can only send one person out, the witch goddess whispered, but did not dare to hesitate, replied. Now she is really like a maid in front of Weso, but Weso is her master. It seems that Xiantier's and Emperor's heart crystal coffin must be placed in Han Weiwei's hands. Xuanhuan Patriarch frowned, and there was no nonsense. Watching Wei Suo said this. The original Fire Territory King plus Abi Patriarch and Xuanhuang's son, they were already very surprised if they coped up, plus a Shenqian 4 major powers. I am afraid it is difficult to resist. As for the witch goddess, although it fell in their hands, it is certainly impossible for her to help the enemy, otherwise, when the enemy is fighting against the enemy suddenly, the result will be the complete destruction of Weisuo. As for Purdue God's light, it was only Weisuo used for intimidation. It was already impossible to save the witch goddess in this day. Now it is very beneficial to us that they should not know that she has been discovered by us and fell into our hands. We can take advantage of this. Weisuo's eyes flashed and nodded. At that time we can ask Han Wei to pretend to be her, to convey to Master Xuanhuan and others, and then use the Emperor Heart Crystal Coffin to launch a blow depending on the situation. It is very possible to decide the battle situation at once. Yes, this is really a godsend. Fen Wukang and Jia immediately nodded in excitement, and when Weisuo said this, the body of the witch goddess shook, and her face became whiter. I just said, how I treat you depends on how you choose. Weisuo's eyes fell on the witch goddess. Do you want to be used directly by us to purify with Purdue God light, or do you listen to my orders and let us defeat these adversaries tomorrow? What do you want me to do? The witch goddess' eyes suddenly panicked. She naturally didn't want to be a puppet without self-consciousness. First help me understand and refine the pattern you gave me. Weisuo looked at the witch goddess and said directly, I have now allowed you to use a part of the true element. To refine the pattern, it should be easy. It can be done. I can help you understand and condense the pattern. Can you let me go? The witch goddess is no longer the Queen's Majesty at this moment. Just like a drowning person who heard Weisuo's words, it was like catching a straw, and immediately uttered the sentence regardless of the eyes of other people and couldn't help pleading. How to deal with you in the end? Then I will wait until tomorrow. I will get through this robbery. Weisuo was extremely strong, looking at the witch goddess, but I can guarantee that I can deal with you without Purdue God light. I'm willing to help you understand and refine the God mark. The witch goddess completely succumbed, lowering her noble and arrogant head. Now her state of mind has been completely suppressed by Weisuo. Weisuo is only a look, just she was very frightened, and even afraid of what Wei did to her in front of so many people. This state of mind is simply bitten by the poisonous snake, and even the grass rope is terrified. This kid really has the means to tame a character of this name to such a degree. Xuanhuan ancestor looked at Weisuo and the witch goddess, and he couldn't help saying such a thing to Weisuo even admired it. You should know that life capture is 1,000 times harder than annihilation, and it is 1,000 times harder to tame such a female practitioner than life capture. Since that's the case, let's start condensing the divine pattern now. Give me your many insights and perceptions about the rule of vitality of this divine pattern, and give it to me. Weisuo did not give the witch goddess any breathing at all. The opportunity, even the heart eater that he has awakened, does not look at it first, just like the maid and the witch goddess. It's cheaper for you. Seeing the witch goddess didn't dare to disobey, Ling Longtian snorted suddenly, and after speaking to Weisuo, he didn't look at Weisuo and the witch goddess, and went out. Dare to attack and pretend to be me. Han Wei originally hated the witch goddess, but when she saw that the witch goddess was very pitiful, Han Wei was a little soft-hearted, but she just stared at the witch goddess fiercely. Without saying much, he went out with Shui Linger and others. Weisuo, how is the drug effect? At this time, Lu Lao was still concerned about his own medicine, and deliberately came forward to ask such a sentence. Very good. It's stronger than I thought. And without your elixir, we may be all over. Your elixir is really a matter of course. Weisuo heard from Lu Lao's ear. Greatly praised Lu Lao's panacea. Since it's good, then next time I will find a way to make one for you. Lu Lao immediately heard the flower blooming, and watched Weisuo and the witch goddess say the sentence. The female body flicked and almost fainted again. Soon, the witch goddess also placed a piece of jade charm with recorded experience in front of Weisuo, and then Weisuo did not let her idle, let her continue to evolve the pattern like Yuanyin ancestors before. This divine pattern of the witch goddess is slightly more cumbersome than the two divine patterns of Xuanhuan patriarchs Tianluo de Wang and Tianbian de Krak, but Weizhuo had the first few divine patterns as a foundation. Realizing the vitality of heaven and earth is a bit more sensitive, but just about 2 hours later, Weizhuo has thoroughly understood the rules of the vitality of this pattern and began to truly condense this pattern. Zheng. Soon, after just trying to condense for hundreds of times in a row, Weizhuo has been able to condense this pattern foolproof, and the body made a sound of the iron, and began to engrave this pattern. What kind of technique is it that can actually engrave the pattern into the body? Just like creating a magical fetal body, no wonder he wants the pattern. Can any kind of pattern be engraved? What kind of strong method is this? Although Suo never mentioned anything about the eternal holy king with the Wujing goddess, the Wujing goddess is not an ordinary mysterious power after all, and Wei Suo was carved into this pattern. She already felt that he was in the end doing what? If God of Fire territories came slower, they might still realize a divine pattern. Witch goddess, you still have two kinds of marks, which is relatively simple. You first make it relatively simple. Also, the last time you opposed the enemy, you can even drive the blood and blood in that jurisdiction. Is the technique Tian Fei Fan Xin also handed over first, but Wei Suo didn't let her idle at all, but let her hand over the pattern and some powerful secrets on her again. The last time Wei Suo and the witch goddess were enemies, they already felt that several of the spells in her body were extremely powerful, especially the kind of void that stepped out step by step, which can directly make people have blood and even heart. The technique of shattering can even control the enemy in advance. The witch goddess seemed to want to refuse, but in the end it was not dare, and turned the gods out, and at the same time handed over the supreme and powerful method of the Donglei secret realm. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziwei. Chapter 1074. 1061 Opening the Curtain of the Great War. It's almost time. Since the King of Fire territories arrived one day in advance and determined that they would fight Weizhuo at the agreed time, more monks came from all directions and arrived at Dengxian City. Around Dengxian City, at least millions of monks gathered. Everywhere they are all black crowds. It is really a rare event in the world of monasticism for thousands of years. As the time gets closer and closer, all the monks are looking around and waiting for the arrival of God of Fire territory and others. I don't know if he can survive this war. Many monks who had benefited from Wei Suo also came. Many of them had attacked Tianjian Zone together with Wei Suo, and many others had escaped from the fierce veins of the magic pattern. Many were desperate in Wei Suo and others. A monk surviving in the northern spirit city that day against the tide of beasts. These monks have reached at least thousands. These monks are very grateful to Wei Suo, and naturally hope that Wei Suo will win, but they are also very clear that the battle between Wei Suo and the monks of the Fire King is no longer what they can intervene and can help. It must be busy. The night was already deep, the world was dark, and it was time for the Fire King and Wei Suo to fight. Roar. Suddenly, everyone's eyes were on the distant sky facing Dengxianzong mountain gate. Some inexplicable creatures roared, and the clouds were all dissipated, and there was a huge blood, which seemed to penetrate through the clouds like giant pillars. Most of the monks have changed their faces. How come there will be more high-level monsters, and it sounds more than one end, and now thousands of miles apart, you can sense the huge monster unique to that high-level monster. Boom. Above that cloud, a huge golden claw suddenly came out, like a burning golden flame. What kind of monster is this? This scene is very terrifying. This claw is at least half of the size of a person. Many people are horrified. The thicker golden light instantly emerged from the dark night clouds. One by one, 16 huge golden armored beasts showed a huge figure from the clouds. This is a giant tiger with golden fangs that is 5 to 6 times larger than the average giant tiger. It is covered with golden scales like dragon scales, exuding an extremely fierce and ancient atmosphere. and on these 16 huge golden armored beasts, there were dragged fine gold chains with the thickness of adult thighs, dragging a huge golden stage. The golden divine platform is at least a few hundred feet in diameter and is covered with various ancient warrior and ancient goose runes. The shining young Xianmeng was as powerful as stepping on the whole world. This is the dragon, tiger, and golden flame beast. It is a powerful monster with a 7th level intermediate rank. This monster even took the trailer directly. Many people exclaimed in amazement, recognizing the origin of these huge monsters that dragged the golden stage and kept roaring. This should be the son of Xuanhuan. In the mountain gate of Dengxianzang, all the monks on Weizhuo's side gathered in Weizhuo's quiet room. Seeing such a situation where the 16 beasts dragged the golden divine platform, he was constantly trying to condense Weisuo of a divine pattern, and suddenly asked beside him, and at the same time evolving the divine pattern, the so-called witch goddess. At this moment, Weisuo and the witch goddess are condensing the divine pattern, which is already the miraculous pattern of the Miaokang Shenghua of the witch goddess. The 3 gate avenues of the witch goddess are the 3 gates of One Yuanqinqin, Heavenly Sky and Heart and Miaokang Shenghua. One Yuanqinqin is a Dao jurisdiction that can compress the huge power between square inches. When the witch goddess and Weisuo confronted the enemy, their fingertips were like a Dao jurisdiction with a small world metamorphosis. Qinqin. Heaven's heart is a supreme method of Donglei's mysterious realm. It can be shaken with a unique vitality to drive the blood in the opponent's body and create an enemy opportunity. At that time, when the witch goddess and Weisuo were against the enemy, Weisuo's physical body was extremely arrogant. Otherwise, the other monks were replaced, and the witch goddess's cultivation was used as an exhibition. Let's talk about the distance. The divine pattern and the law of vitality of this avenue are also the most complicated, but this technique, Weisuo, has also handed over the witch goddess, and has fully realized it. Weisuo engraved a series of 1,760 divine patterns of One Yuanqinqin in succession, and finally carved this divine pattern into Dachan. After engraving this divine pattern, plus the iron lotus suit, Weisuo was able to resist Yuanyan Patriarch's full blow. After engraving this great pattern, Weisuo did not stay in the slightest, and continued to appreciate the Miaokang Shenghua divine pattern of the witch goddess. This is what the son of Xuanhuang ignored. The witch goddess lowered her head and whispered to Weisuo. I hope they will come slower. It's better to put more on the shelf. Weisuo took a deep breath and glanced at the witch goddess, instructing the witch goddess to continue evolving the marks with him. Now that Prince Xuanhuang has appeared, it shows that the rest of the mighty power is about to appear, and this battle has already begun. After Weisuo engraved the pattern of Yuan Yuanqin, it is already a non-stop feeling and a divine pattern that condenses the Miaokang Shenghua, and even the heartworms haven't had time to see it. Now he has realized this pattern clearly, rule of vitality, but it hasn't been condensed for the first time, and it will take a lot of time. If these people don't come so fast, it will allow him to engrave this pattern, then this battle is naturally more natural. A little more capital. Boom. Boom. Just after Prince Xuanhuang made a strong appearance under the attention of everyone, a group of blue-red cloud flames covering at least hundreds of square meters also fell from the sky into the sky next to Prince Xuan. The edges of the blue-red cloud flames, all it is who is standing tall and surging, holding a variety of ancient soldiers and magical instruments, making a huge sound and roaring. Everyone knows that Abi Shenzhen is here. Boom. The world trembles again, and the void trembles like a rag again. A huge pillar of fire was born, a burly figure, like a transparent body, burning blue, red and white, 3 colors of fire. Xiandaninj appeared in the center of the pillar of fire, and the body's fiery red light formed behind him. 9 huge arches. Fire King is here. This battle will start soon. There is another person beside the Fire King. God, there is still a terrifying power. Everyone knows that the Lord is here, but at this time, many monks exclaimed in horror, and found that beside the Fire King who came like a sun, there was still a man covered in black clouds. Monk. There was no divine light from this monk, but it was obviously swaying with earth-shattering momentum and divine aura. Standing beside the Fire King, the momentum was not too weak. All the people who saw this monk in a moment, you can be sure that this person must be a powerful person who is also cultivated to the ground. There is still one. No one came out of Wei Suo's side. It seems that we still have to rely on Deng Xianzong's prohibition. These tremendous powers are coming together like stars, even the sky is trembling, and the huge and terrifying atmosphere is like a huge pillar, even the sky seems to be broken. Many people couldn't help looking at Deng Xianzong's mountain gate, but no one appeared in Deng Xianzong's mountain gate. Yellow-haired child Wei Suo, still not coming out to die. After the King of Fire territories appeared, he directly issued a huge sound, and a tremendous power made many buildings in Dengxian city emit a crackling sound. There is still power. But at this moment, suddenly, two large groups of divine profound aura emerged from the distant sky, so that the Fire Domain God King and others could not help but stop and turn to look around. It is the Lord of Zhongtianzili sect, and there is another person who is not the Lord of Tourmaline. Who is it? In the quiet room of Deng Xianzong Weizhuo, the monks on Weizhuo's side first saw the appearance of these two adventing Shenqian mighty powers through Wanli Suiying mirror and other instruments. These two sudden emergence of divine profound power, one of them is an emperor wearing gold armor, with a square face and a real golden dragon head, which protects most of the emperor's head in it. Sovereign of the Purple Sunder sect wearing the golden dragon armor. The power of this continent, Yuheng, is also a trio of Shenqian, who has realized the power of a large area of law. But this time with the Zhongtianzili sect master, it was not that Wei Suo had seen the Yuxuan continent's divine profound power last time, but an ancestor who looked the same as Xuanhuan. Old antiques, which seemed to be similar to the sect master of Zhongtianzili, wearing a white robe, hair, eyebrows, and even nails are white, looks like a ghost. The white divine light radiated from his body, in his two huge white bone wings were formed behind him, and a huge white bone ring was formed above the top of the head. I'll wait to kill the sun with God of Fire territory. As soon as these two Shenqian Dainange came out, they made a sound, shaking the world. Very well, it's Zhongtianzili sect master and Ming-Tu sect's old antique bone god. They also came. Xuanhuan Gongzi smiled slightly, said to the Fire Domain King. His voice introducing the two's identities was deliberately without a whisper, and it was still transmitted to all directions, so that everyone could hear it. There are two more powerful, and they are all from the Fire King God. This is also the two strong powers of Shenqian triple God. How can Wei Suo deal with this side? All the monks around Dengxian completely changed their colors. It was really unimaginable that so many people were able to kill Wei Suo together. Puff. In front of Wei Suo, another divine pattern failed to evolve and cracked in front of him. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 1075. Chapter 1062 Creating Opportunities. The sect master of the Ningtu sect was killed by Wei Suo in the Battle of the Broken Jade ancient territory, but the sect master of the Ningtu sect even had an old antique bone similar to the sect master of the Ningtu sect. In that war, there was also a sect master of the great profound Tourmaline of the Yuhang continent who did not arrive. It is likely that the sovereign master Yu Tianzong and Huang Daijun were pinned on the Tianqian continent. We also showed up one by one, delaying some time. Now there are two more breathing divine profound powers on the side of the Fire King, and Wei Suo's refining of the divine mark is unsuccessful, but his look has not changed much, just facing Yuan Yin Lao. Zuetal nodded. It is good. In the eyes of Yuanyin ancestor, Feng Wukang, and others, some strange light appeared, because they all felt from the tone of Wei Suo was no longer successful in the final refining of this pattern. It takes too much time. In the case of the unknown witch goddess, the other party is likely not to start the war directly. I'm going out first. After a few people looked at each other, Yahuang real person first flew out of the hall where they were, and took off. Boom. Real man Yahuang also exerted his spirit of God profoundly, and the void shook again. The splendid ancient picture of the young man in the mysterious Chinese costume, which was derived from the inheritance of the wild people, is now placed on his body, and he also directly sacrificed it, and it is as bright as a collection. The divine light of all the colors in the world instantly illuminates the sky above Dengxianzong. Wei Suo also has the power of Shenxian. They don't want to escape, they seem to be fighting. How come there is such an amazing divine light? Does Wei Suo consciously have the strength to confront these people? As soon as the real person Yu Fei appeared, all the monks around Dengxian city suddenly became a sensation. This shows that Wei Suo did not secretly escape, and obviously an amazing war broke out. Shenxian's heavy cultivation is close to the magic weapon of the fairy god of fire territory, and others did not move, but god of fire territory made such a voice, cold and disdainful. Boom. Another huge breath oscillated in the mountain gate of Dengxian zone, and 7 brilliant silver stars appeared in the void. Feng Wukang also appeared, condensing in the void beside the real Yahuang. It is Shenxian Yuxio's cultivation practice again. Dare to come out to fight, god of fire territory once again made a cold voice. Boom. The ancestor of Xuanhuan didn't show up first, but it burst out with a huge breath of God profound, like a divine rainbow, straight into the sky. All the clouds above Dengxianzong mountain gate were completely stirred up. Then, the ancestor of Xuanhuan tried his best to excite the small pot of fairy tears, hitting a fairy light, like the long tail of a comet sweeping through the sky, so that all the monks around Dengxianzong mountain gate felt a creepy feeling. After inspiring a small pot of fairy tears, the ancestor of Xuanhuan silently placed the small pot of fairy tears in front of Han Weiwei, and then he rose into the air, bursting out with a strong momentum and divine light. Looking outside within the mountain gate of Dengxianzong, it is as if a star is rising. Xuanhuan ancestor, you dared to kill me last time without saying a war book, and dared to rush to this person and me as enemies. It seems that you are tired of living. God of fire territory once again made an indifferent voice. Your cultivation behavior is at most nothing but between Master Xuanhuang and Prince Abi. Call out. Yangtze Bird, Qingluan, and Hongyuan Yunwei all vacated, and dozens of ice and snow gods in the rear also wanted to keep up, but after being glared by Hongyuan Yunwei, they could only shrink back. 3 huge monsters unique to the high-level monster beasts also rose from the gate of Dengxianzong mountain. Humph! The god of fire territory snorted coldly. Is there no other people, but actually rely on this monster to support the scene? Why has Grand Master Yin Yin not yet appeared? It doesn't work if it's there. The Supreme Master Yin Yin can only be at the same level as Sect Master Zhongtian Zilei. The monks around Dengxianzong were also dumb. In the eyes of everyone, the strength shown by Wei Suo was indeed unable to compete with the of fire domain. Come out and die. God of fire territory seems not to want to waste any more time. The fire on his body began to approach towards the gate of Dengxianzong mountain directly. The whole sky sent out a fiery fire, and the air was hotter than the scorching heat. Laugh. It was at this moment that Wei Suo flashed in front of him, and a complete divine pattern condensed. Witch goddess, you stay here, don't want to make any tricks, otherwise I won't show mercy to you. Wei Suo's hands shot a few more glorious lights, sealing all the true elements of the witch goddess again. While saying this, he nodded with Ling Longtian, Han Weiwei, and others, and flew out. It takes a lot of time to condense the pattern in case of loss and engrave this pattern, but now the Fire King has approached, but there is no time. Wei Shenjun. But at this moment, the witch goddess suddenly shivered. How? Wei Suo's eyes flashed and turned to look at the witch goddess, not knowing what she said when he called him at the moment. I beg you. The witch goddess seemed to have made a lot of determination, and lowered her head, not daring to look at Wei Suo, and begged aloud, "I beg you not to be me, you open this in front of everyone thing." "Why, this is already the case, are you still afraid of being known?" Han Wei pouted when she heard this from the goddess Wu. Okay, Wei Suo glanced at the witch goddess and said, "However, if the situation on my side is not good at the time of the fight, I may pass the voice to his ear alone when he is fighting against the one Huang Sun. In the middle, break his state of mind." The witch goddess flashed a grateful look, but opened his mouth, but said nothing. "Old man, have you brought so many people with me, will I be afraid of you? Since you are going to kill me, do you dare to fight me alone?" Wei Suo didn't say anything to her, and took off with Ling Longtian, Han Wei, and others, bursting out the breath of the two gods, and at the same time, even the big multiplication sound was activated, a powerful power, directly exploding in the void, as if there was a king. He kept knocking with the invisible hammer in the void. "Joke, based on your strength, what qualifications do you want to challenge us? If you kneel down and beg for us now, we may still be able to leave these people around you a way of life." The sect master immediately made a thunderous sound. After the battle of the broken Jade Ancient Domain, he didn't want any accidents at all. He didn't want to be like the one in the broken Jade Ancient Domain. Because the last time the witch goddess also seemed to be an overwhelming advantage, but it was still defeated by Wei Suo. The defeated man will destroy your character like a dog slaughter. What are your qualifications to talk to me? If no one else is present, would you dare to talk to me so loudly? Wei Suo sneered while still condensing. Refining God pattern. It's really arrogant, no wonder it will cause so many opponents. Sect Master Zhongtianzili can be said to be angry with Kakiao, but he didn't wait for him to say anything. The name of the fire domain next to the black cloud, even the Wu god the women didn't know the mysterious power of the origin, but they suddenly uttered calmly, listening to the sound seems to be a middle-aged man, "If you want to destroy you alone, I don't even need to fire the of the fire domain, I can destroy you, just now. Our side has an overwhelming advantage, and what is the advantage of fighting against the enemy alone? Would we all work together to deal with you, wouldn't it be easier? Who is this person, dare to say that Wei Suo alone?" This mysterious Xian De Neng said. All the monks around Deng Xiancan were in an uproar. Because everyone knows that Wei Suo is now a fourfold cultivation base of Shenxian, and he is a double Shengxuan, with a combat power far more than the general Shenxian mighty. Not necessarily his opponent. Boy, listening to what they mean, it seems that there are still a variety of supreme ways to covet you, but I also want to get them. If they fight directly, even if they kill you, they won't get it, maybe only a small pot of fairy tears. Stay intact, this is an opportunity, you can talk to them, maybe you can seize the opportunity and deal with one of them. The old man in green robe heard a word from the mysterious Xianmian, but immediately made a sound into the ears of Wei Suo and others. You can create opportunities and try to get Han Wei to communicate with them. At that time, you can make them hit the bill and make a hit. The voice of Yuanyan's ancestors immediately entered the ears of Wei Suo and others. If you do it all together, you can be sure to keep me even if my people only escape one or two. Can you ensure how many survive? Benefits. What do you want? Benefits. Do you want to give a head-to-head duel to the showdown? What do you give us? Wei Suo nodded quietly, making such a sound. At the same time, he stretched out his hand, opened the slave bag, and released the awakened Heart Eater. Wei Suo's ability to test the heartworm's ability to change after he advanced was very close to the heartworm. At this moment, Wei Suo released the heartworm, feeling that the shape of the heartworm has not changed. It is still the same size as before. Small size. Under the sweep of the consciousness, he also felt that the ability of the Heart Eater to hide the breath did not seem to have changed much from before. If it was within tens of feet of him, he would feel it. But as one of Wei Suo's thoughts passed, In his sense of consciousness, his heart eater seemed to suddenly change direction, teleport, and appeared on the other side dozens of feet away at the same time. The body size seems to have become larger. This is not a real teleportation change, because Wei Suo and his heart eater have a unique mental and spiritual connection, knowing that the heart eater is still in place, unmoved. This is totally the impact of his mind eater's consciousness, which made his consciousness sweep through and produce such a misjudgment. His heart-biting insect itself is a monster that is famous for its impact on latent and consciousness. After this advancement, his consciousness seems to have been greatly enhanced. Any supreme strong law is a treasure left by the predecessor's power. It is naturally a pity that it was cut off because of the fall of a monk at this moment. The mysterious Xian Daninj had calmed down again. Say, if you take the supreme law of your body as a bet, I can naturally let you die and fight alone with you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 1076. Chapter 1063, Showdown Mysterious Power. Very well, since you said that, I wouldn't refuse to add another supreme method. The other party really wanted to get the supreme power of Wei Suo. After hearing this, Wei Suo still returned the sentence quietly, but at the same time, he made a wink at Feng Wukang and tried to make the heartworm with a full blow to Feng Wukang. Click. A white aura mask outside Feng Wukang made a cracking sound, but it didn't completely collapse. Wei Suo's eyes flickered, and the result was not too unexpected. The heart eater itself was a monster that was dominated by latent and consciousness. Since it has advanced several times, its ability has been mostly improved. It is in these two aspects that the attack power of this bone spur is not yet able to completely break through the defense of Shenxian. His heart-biting insect can only be used for unexpected containment and sneak attacks. In the case of the opponent's all-round divine power, it can't be used as a strong attack. Yep. But at this moment, the accident happened. All the people couldn't help looking at the void on the south side. In the void on the south side, a huge breath suddenly appeared again, and then, the sky in the south completely turned into a piece of gold, just like the whole sky and earth became pure gold. There is an infinite amount of light coming out of the void, and the two gods, profound power and dignified air, are surging together. Sushenxu. Wang Wei. The brows of everyone on Wei Suo suddenly jumped. The two appeared in the void. One of them is not new to Wei Suo and others, and is the suzerain of Su Tianxiao, the other is exactly the same as the light before Wang Wei, but the whole body of blood is also very thick, but it is Wang Wei's real body coming. I saw that the first monk of the Yunling continent had a burly figure and the most majestic appearance, exuding a supreme king's breath, wearing a golden vest. The golden vest was also an ancient royal coat. There were many on it, a variety of Tao Zun's runes. At this moment, he was really coming, but his body was still surrounded by countless golden divine patterns. These golden divine patterns were around his body, but they were condensed into 9 huge golden holy swords, giving a thrilling visual impact. Sense. Wang Wei, are you showing up at this moment? Do you want to stop this battle? God of Fire Territories turned slightly, not even Sushenxu's eyes, just mentioning Wang Wei's name. Even if I wait to join, I don't have the strength to stop this battle. And Sect Master Su, and I don't think there is anything wrong with your proposal. This kind of duel can reduce a lot of unnecessary damage and don't need a lot of unnecessary. The monks were buried together after Wang Wei and Sushenxu appeared. They did not continue to approach, but only stayed in the void about 2,000 miles south of Dengxian City. It's just that there are 2 mysterious secrets of our Emperor's heavenly path. I naturally don't want our Emperor's supreme mysteries to spread out. It's okay for these 2 mysterious secret methods. This guy really is hostile to us. And he is not very optimistic about us. It is very likely to fall into the rock. Upon hearing such a voice from Wang Wei, the old man in green robe screamed in despair. Wei Suo's face was also indifferent. Prior to Hua Tianjiao and Huang Tiandao's slow posture, he already felt that these two super sects might not stand on his side. Not to mention that Sushengxiu is not difficult to deduce that they had stolen the roots of Yuan Shenmuo, and that the true disciples of Emperor Tiandao died in his hands, and now that the meritorious deities and Deng Xianzong have already lost their power, if so he doesn't exist, then Hui Shenjiao and Huang Tiandao can become the overlords who control the Yunling continent. Sushengxiu and Wang Wei already have enough reasons not to stand on his side. From the current situation, if it is not Wang Wei and Sushengxiu who are worried that it is easy to ask God to send God, it is worried that after the Fire Domain King has killed the group of Wei Suo, I am afraid that even Yunling continent will fall into this patch. The human hand also thinks that this group of people will be damaged in the hands of Wei Suo and others, otherwise, they may choose to join the of Fire Domain directly. Moreover, Wang Wei's words at this time were also magnificent. He also accused Wei Suo of shrinking in the mountain gate of Dengxianzong. Wei Suo's previous thought was also very simple. If Wei Shenjiao and Huang Tiandao chose to stand by him this time, then he would naturally regard Hui Shenjiao and Huang Tiandao as friends in the future and try his best to help, but for now, Hui Shenjiao and Huang Tianjiao is already on the other side, only because of concerns and containment, he apparently maintains a neutral attitude. From now on, Sushengxiu and Wang Wei are already his real enemies. Since even Wang sect master has this meaning, I'm afraid you can't refuse it at all. That mysterious Xianda Neng covered in black clouds is very strong, and once again made a strong sound, shaking the world, persecuting Wei Suo. Wei Suo still keeps distilling the divine patterns, and also sneers, since this is the case, I will use the deletion of the missing moon as the price, I don't know what corresponding price you can give. List the missing months. As soon as Wei Suo said this, a tsunami-like cry of excitement suddenly sounded around Dengxian city. It is not a secret to list the lack of crescent moons, as everyone knows, this is already one of the strongest tactics in the world. There are no spells that can surpass the value of such a strong spell. Very well, since you gave the list of missing months, I will give the Hongmeng Zijing. The tone of the mysterious Xianda Neng was still very calm, and said aloud. Hongmeng Zijing. This ancient method has been handed down, and it is still alive. There are at least millions of monks gathered around Dengxian city, and a small number of them have seen the records of this ancient scripture in some classics, and they were all shocked. This is indeed a supreme power that is sufficient for juxtaposition with the lack of the crescent moon. The power of this powerful power can make the opponent's magic power change a certain position, and even face more than oneself. The same is true of the power of many monks. In other words, as long as you have this method, some monks who are weaker than the other party may also resist the other party's powerful power. This is a supreme powerful method of the ancient Hongmeng Emperor Heaven, and I can't think of this technique in the hands of this person. Ling Longtian's voice passed into Wei Zhuo's ear. A monk who can give such a spell is certainly not simple. At least if this spell is in his hands, he might be able to dodge many of the powerful powers that Wei Zhuo played. As long as it is the true Hongmeng purple scriptures, it can naturally be tied to the lack of the crescent moon. Wei Suo deliberately delayed the time and said slowly, but who will verify the authenticity of the scriptures given by both parties? There are so many monks here, just find someone to verify the authenticity of the scriptures on both sides. Then let this person go and wait on that mountain. If I lose, I naturally don't care how you deal with it, you go to that one. Shantu took it by himself. If you lose, I naturally have a way for this person to forget the scriptures they read. You, help us both to check the scriptures. The mysterious Xianda Neng pointed at any point and pointed at a Jindan monk in the distance. At the same time, with his skill, a beam of Huiguang also shot at a small hill 3,000 miles away. A lot of monks gathered around the hill head. When they saw it, they all exclaimed, All fled from the hilltop, but the Shenxian mighty's Shenxian coverage did not reach that far, that Huiguang was just pointing the direction. The light flashed into the mountain, but there was no sound, but it was nailed into it with a sharp sword. At the same time, the Jindan monk who was ordered by him was ignorant and shivering unconsciously. This Jindan monk should also be a monk of the Yunling continent, but he is also very clear that this kind of gang testimony can be said to be of no benefit. Even if it is not killed, it may be what spells do people use to erase this memory. But by the mysterious PowerPoint, the Jindan monk dared not to refuse, and he froze for a while. I'm here to help both sides to test the experience. But at this moment a voice came out, and in addition, a Jindan monk took the initiative. This Jindan monk had scars on his face, but it was the Jindan monk who had a big grudge against Tianjianzong at that time and stood up to attack Tianjianzong with Wei Suo. I have faith in Wei Shenjun, and I voluntarily help both sides to test the sutra. This scarred Jindan monk swept out and made such a voice. Very well, since that's the case, I'll show you how I killed this person. Mysterious Xian Dayang sneered without saying much, reaching for a little, but it was a piece of purple ancient stone flying. It shot out and flew in front of the scarred face Jindan. Okay. Wait for me to record the scripture. Wei Suo deliberately delayed the time. Poof. 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 5 or 6 consecutive lines of divine patterns appeared in front of him without any accident. Zheng, immediately, a sound of God's iron whispered out of him. You can start to engrave this divine pattern. Ji Yat and others all had ecstatic expressions on their faces. They knew exactly what this voice meant. You can only go out first and engrave this pattern at the same time. Otherwise, these people will definitely be able to detect that I am deliberately delaying time. Maybe it will produce changes that are not conducive to us. Wei Suo nodded, but was facing Han Wei. The others nodded and walked towards the gate. With a whine, the jade symbol, which records the missing month, hit the scar Jindan monk. Han Wei, wait for you to seize the opportunity, and give hints to Xuanhuan and other people at the same time. Wei Suo quietly whispered into Han Wei's ear. Boom. As he moved forward, Wei Suo released both of the divine profound Dharma bodies. The huge divine profound aura shook the world, covering up the slight sound and the vibration of his breath that he kept engraving into the divine grain. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 1077. Chapter 1064, Holy King Transformation. Wei Suo is out? His double Xian is really unimaginable. This is the true cultivation of Shuangshen Xian's fourfold behaviors. What does this man have to rely on, and dare to fight such Shuangshengxuan alone? Wei Zhuo's double Xuanyi emerged from the gate of Dengxianzong mountain, and the surroundings of Dengxian city suddenly boiled. Born as an ordinary small Sangziu, experienced the Dewa League's stingy sea battle, sweeping the heavenly sword sect, the battle of the broken jade ancient territory, and capturing the Dengxian zone. It has long been a legendary existence, and the power has long been unimaginable. Don't be anxious, check the scriptures. As long as you don't cause the other party's suspicion, spend as much time as possible. Wei Suoxing walked out of the Xian Zone mountain gate, and the two gods' mysterious Dharma bodies bloomed many powerful outliers, and their eyes spurred on the hidden mysterious Xian mighty, but secretly passed on to the scar Jindan monk. In the ear. Although this scar Jindan monk has no friendship with him, he was also the first to stand up from the last attack on Tianjianzong, and this time he also stood up and supported him directly. Judging from the situation, this scar Jindan monk is also a sentimental generation. If we can survive this crisis, Wei Zhuo will definitely make friends with this person. Hearing Wei Suo's voice, there was an imperceptible light flashing in the face of the scar Jindan monk, but he didn't say anything at all, just holding two jade charms, and looked carefully. Why, another of my men defeated, didn't the witch goddess come with you? Didn't she say that she would also appear today, depending on the cover of the two huge gods and mysterious bodies? Wei Suo continued to play forever. The Holy King's scriptures were engraved with divine patterns, and at the same time they swept the sovereign of the purple heaven sunder and the bone god, and sneered intentionally. Maybe she thinks that so many people are enough to deal with you, there is no need to show up at all, Master Xuanhuan suddenly said in a voice. Standing on the golden divine platform, he looked at Wei Suo and the people behind Wei Suo with interest. What kind of thing are you? I asked them when it was your turn to intervene. Wei Suo deliberately glanced at Prince Xuanhuang with a sneer. You are looking for death, the son of Xuanhuang was once said like this. His face suddenly changed, and he was completely gloomy. This person is calm and not so easy to deal with. Wei Suo's eyes flashed. If he was replaced by a general monk, he would be violently thrilled, but Xuanhuang's face changed drastically, but obviously he could hold back. It is obviously much harder to deal with than impulsive and irrational monks. Don't fight with him. What is the origin of this man's duel against Wei Suo? That fairy soldier is on Xuanhuan Patriarch's body, be careful that he suddenly makes a full blow. At this moment, Han Wei was suddenly the voice was heard in the ears of Master Xuanhuang. At this moment, the distance between Master Xuanhuang and others and Wei Suo was still very far away. Han Wei secretly sent a voice to Xuanhuang Master with the help of a piece of Kakiao sound transmission stone in Deng Xianzong's warehouse. You have successfully changed your face and replaced the identity of this person as an escort. Master Xuanhuang's eyes flashed violently, and he found nothing wrong, directly fooled, secretly transmitted to Han Wei's ear. This person's identity is very mysterious, and until this moment, I don't know what it is. I will look at the situation and look for the timing of the shot. You pass the voice to them. In case of a fight, let them not do it to me. But you should also be careful. If this person's magical power is above Wei Suo, use them. It's very likely that Wei Suo will destroy them and take the opportunity to deal with us. Han Wei's brows were wrinkled imperceptibly. She originally wanted to hear the origin of the other party's mysterious power before the war, but she didn't expect until at this time, the origin of this mysterious power was not revealed at all, and no one knew the other party except the Fire King. Good, the son of Xuanhuang suddenly fluttered a little, and Han Wei's sentence "you also have to be careful," so that he suddenly felt a bit of concentricity, and his sense of profitability. Even the violent anger caused by Wei Suo's sentence suddenly disappeared, because in his eyes, Wei Suo is now almost like a dead man, and there is nothing to worry about with a dead man. Oh, after we became friends, if I play a game with you that strengthens you, you should not refuse it. And the secret voice was transmitted to the Fire King and others, telling Han Wei that he was a witch god. At the same time, as a woman, he thought about it in his heart, strengthening an emperor, this taste must be strange. Oh, your identity, but others can't even dare to look at you at all. I have this opportunity to treat you like this. What, the witch goddess has actually been mixed into the opponent's formation. The rest of the fire domain kings and others have known for a long time, and are not surprised, but the sect master of Zhongtianzili sect and the bone-bearing prince did not know until now. I was very surprised, but it didn't show up on the face, nor did I go to see Han Wei at all. It's so mysterious that he hasn't revealed his identity until now. What strange magical powers are there? Wei Suo was also very surprised, but he was not surprised, just kept quietly engraving the divine pattern, before Linglong days. It has been transmitted to him, and it can be confirmed that the other party is only the cultivation practice of the mid-fourth stage of Shenxian. With this cultivation practice, even like him, there is a fairy in his hand, and the power he has inspired is based on his current physical body. And supernatural powers are also enough to stop. Why does it take so long? The monk Scarface didn't know exactly what Wei Suo wanted him to procrastinate. He spent almost twice as much time as the ordinary Jindan monk to check the two verses until when the mysterious power spoke this sentence coldly, the scarred monk nodded and made a certain look, saying, "There is nothing wrong with these two scriptures. I'm not afraid of you cheating, and you know that if you cheat and angered me, what will happen to you, fellow pals and friends? Mysterious master watched the Scarface monk set off and go the distant hilltop, looked at Wei Suo with a sneer and said, I'm afraid that you will cheat, but I think the clearer the better. Wei Suo tit for tat, since you are so eager to die, I certainly will not refuse to send you on the road. Come with me with courage. I'm afraid that people on your side are secretly ghosting. Wei Suo turned around and schemed toward the sky above. He seems to be away from the casting range of the rest of the two parties at this moment, so as to prevent any monks from both parties from interfering with their duel, but in fact his movements are not fast, but he is still trying to delay the time. Within this period of time, under various delays, he has engraved more than 1,200 divine lines in succession, but he does not know how many more lines will be engraved before this divine line will be successfully completed. Very good, exactly what I want. Mysterious Meng sneered, turned into a black streamer, followed by a lone, and swept up with Wei Suo to a very high altitude, more than 2,500 miles from both sides. Distance. There was silence between the whole world, and within thousands of miles of Dengxian city, the dense monks were all dead, and the time seemed to stop. Everyone knows that it will be recorded in the classics. The war is about to erupt. Keng. In front of the mysterious and powerful person, a dull soft noise suddenly sounded, which cut through the silence and spread far away. A piece of black divine light suddenly manifested in front of him, instantly forming a long black knife, instantly breaking through the sky and strangling towards Wei Suo. A thrilling air machine and overwhelming breath bloomed at this moment. This mysterious power, without any nonsense, directly troubled, in this black long knife, there are a variety of unique vitality rules in the non-stop circulation, obviously is the power of an avenue of jurisdiction. Boom. At the same time as this black long knife was beheaded, Wei Suo was also like a volcano eruption, bursting out two monstrous breaths, and at the same time played out the missing moon and Dejima. Click. The black long knife was directly crushed under the crushing of the column missing month and Dejima, and turned into countless black streamers. The mysterious power stepped forward, avoiding the remnants of the column missing month and Dejima. This face-to-face power collision is obviously Wei Suo dominant, but Wei Suo's look is instead dignified. The blows of both sides are obviously only temptations, and the other party's true Yuanqiu is the power of the Hedao Avenue. For Wei Suo, at most it is a grade with Abi Shenzhen. It stands to reason that there is no cost to single Wei Suo. There are other dependencies. Boom. Countless white Zhaoguang and white Daolian manifested outside Wei Suo's body. Before knowing the other's true supernatural powers, he didn't dare to take any lightness at all, and first revealed the Dengxian jurisdiction. Now that his double gods are fourfold in cultivation, the true element is extremely surging. Before the Qianji Unzuxi sword array is exhibited, he does not even need to use the Mother Earth's Zhenjing cooperation. As soon as Wei Suo's main avenue became apparent, a huge air machine swayed the world, and all the white brilliance, like the Milky Way, fell to the world, and the imposing power was amazing. You can't do it yet, but at this moment, the mysterious power made such a voice instead. At this moment, a strange and astounding variety of vitality surges out, and the mysterious and powerful eyes suddenly emit multicolored crystal lights, and the whole person suddenly has an inexplicable charm, like the birth of a holy king, completely changed a person. What the happened? This is not a legal power. What magical power is this? This is a weird change. An inexplicable divine power seems to be involved in the void. The dark cloud outside the mysterious and powerful body is completely dispersed. Inside is a middleman wearing a pure black vest, young monk. This middle-aged monk has a handsome face, but he is very tall and burly, at least half the height of Wei Suo. At the moment, his whole body exudes 5 or 6 kinds of divine light, like a metamorphosis. His eyes also turned pale gold, and even the original long black hair became transparent, becoming bright and colorful. His skin became indescribable crystal, shining with colorful jade light, a powerful energy of blood, but in his body became a layer of golden glow, with a kind of unspeakable. The coercion is very different from the original temperament. Calm. 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 The mysterious foot of this mysterious glories and vanishes as if breaking through the void, stepping towards Wei Suo step by step. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 1078. Chapter 1065, Supreme Physical Confrontation. What is going on? Is this person a monk specializing in physical exercises? This is a scene totally different from all the monks' expectations. Even Wan Huangzi and others are very shocked. Every inch of the skin of this mysterious Xianmian is like iron and jade. The natural flow out of the body is completely the power contained in the body, not the power of the spell. Is this person? Wei Suo's eyes were also filled with a surprised look. Boom, but his shot did not stop at all. Li Qianyu and Dai Zhumi were out in the air again, sweeping towards the mysterious Xian De Neng past. Don't think that only you have the supreme secret. A piece of purple light swept out from the front of this mysterious Xian De Neng, hitting the missing crescent moon that glide in the air like a real black meniscus. Ziguang disappeared in an instant, but Li Xia and crescent moon changed their position slightly and suppressed towards his side. In the face of the huge white mountain that was coming on the face, this mysterious Xiando was very calm, waved directly, and shot forward, as if driving away mosquitoes. His entire arm was almost completely transparent, but what appeared in it was all stripes of divine patterns, with various divine powers flowing and intertwined into a light curtain. The white Sumi Shenshan came under repression, and the wind swayed. The grass and trees surrounding the Shenxian Mengneng were all broken, and the valley rolled like it was crushed by an invisible giant wall. Boom! The void earthquake, but what makes everyone unbelievable is that the White Sumi Mountain, which was issued by Wei Suo Shenxian Sixiu, was broken. The White Sumi God Mountain was completely crushed by the Shenxian De Neng reaching out, giving the impression that a piece of tofu hit a small hard stone. Boom! 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 The mysterious Xian De Neng can continue to move through the collapsed White Sumi Mountain, without stopping in one step, so powerful that everyone's breath is stopped. Is this still a monk? It's a Holy Spirit. How could there be such a powerful body? The God-level top-level strong method that Shenxian 4 Major can play, can't even cause any damage to this person's physical body? Who is this person? The air-sucking sounds and unbelievable exclamations made around the entire Dengxian city even overwhelmed the collapse of the White Sumi Mountain. Are you the sovereign of the Holy King? Wei Suo's eyes also flashed violently, making such a sound. The powerful power of this mysterious Xian De Neng's flesh is obviously also the supernatural power of layers of divine patterns. His flesh itself is also completely like a powerful magical carcass. This is also the use of the eternal Saint King. The scriptures are engraved with the results of many great patterns, and the eternal Saint King scripture is the unsecured secret of the Saint King section. This mysterious Xiande can show such magical powers, and its identity has already come out. However, I am the sovereign of the Holy King, but you understand now, is it too late? The face of the sovereign of the Holy King showed a cruel smile, and continued to approach Wei Suo without stopping. Unexpectedly, this man turned out to be the sovereign of Saint King. The expressions of people on Wei Suo's side were suddenly tense. This Holy King Patriarch can completely block Wei Suo's technique, and the flesh doesn't know how many divine patterns are carved into it. The Fire Domain King obviously has this great reason for this Holy King Patriarch. Confidence. The other party cannot know that I have a supremely powerful method such as the whole virtual step method. This person is likely to have any other secret techniques, or some magical tools, which can ensure that he is approached by my side. Otherwise, it will not be connected to the fire area. The King of God also thinks he has determined me. Wei Suo's eyes flickered violently, and he calculated quickly, but he did not escape, but he also greeted the Saint King sect master very powerfully. He wants to see to what extent the body of the Saint King sect master is forced. He did what he wanted. If the body of the holy sect master was not as strong as he would be killed by one or two of them. Everyone on Weizhuo's side could see Weizhuo's intentions, all holding their breath. Han Weiwei's palm is full of dense sweat beads, ready to inspire Emperor Xinjing coffin at any time. Weizhuo, what he wants to do? Do you want to shake with this person? The vast majority of the monks around Dengxian city gave out incredible exclamations. Even the Fire Domain King and the Holy King Patriarch had a look of surprise in their eyes. Weisuo and the Holy King sect master directly connected with each other. A black sword-shaped avenue domain evolved by the sect master sect, and the Dengxian domain outside the body of Weisuo, shattered at the same time. Immediately, the sect master sect, as before, reached out to shoot at Weisuo, as if driving away mosquitoes. General Weisuo did not evade in the slightest way, but also stretched out his hand to shoot towards the king sect master. Weisuo also had a strange divine light evolved. His whole person seemed to turn into a silver divine iron, with an inexplicable qi machine, and there seemed to be countless stars shining in his body. When the flashing palms of Weisuo Yingxia collided with the almost transparent big hand of the Saint King sect master, and suddenly made a huge sound like the collision of two big clocks made of two irons. Is it really hard to resist the flesh of the Saint King? Almost all the monks around Dengxianken were dumbfounded and saw an incredible sight. Both Weisuo and Saint King sect master flew backwards at the same time. All the vests on Weisuo's arm shattered directly into fly ash. One of his silver arms kept cracking and the cracks spread all the time. When approaching the neck, it seemed to break apart completely. The flesh of Saint Sect Master is even more tyrannical than Weisuo. All the people on Weizhuo's side suddenly changed color. Because everyone saw that the flesh of the Holy Sect Master was safe and sound, but the arm was twitching like a twitch. In his body, so many engraved lines were engraved. Weisuo was also very shocked, from the ice pattern given by Linglong Heaven at the beginning, to the pattern of Dengxian legal region, a pattern of Huangdaijun, plus the Tianluo Diwang and Tian de crack of Yuanyan ancestor, a divine pattern, coupled with the one Yuankinkan divine pattern of the witch goddess, has already been engraved with so many divine patterns, but it is still invincible to the body of the Saint King. In the past, Weisuo and others also envisioned the situation of the Holy King sect, but they felt that the inheritance of one sect was at most 3 or 4 gods, but this previous inference is obviously completely wrong. Sovereign of the Holy King sect has more than 3 or 4 divine patterns carved into it. It is very likely that the Fire King God has made a deal with him, and it may not be necessary to pass it to him. Such thoughts immediately appeared in Weisuo's heart, but he did not panic, because of this hard fight, although his physical body was not invincible, but he also felt that although the physical body of the Holy King sect master was more arrogant than him, it was just a bit tyrannical, and did not exceed too much. Zheng. With a clear voice, everyone seemed to see Weisuo's arm completely broken, but while flying backward, it was still very calm. Under the silver light, it was wearing the iron lotus suit. On the body. Immediately, Weisuo's entire person paused in the air, wearing a simple silver war suit, like the rebirth of the ancient god of war. You really got the eternal Holy King Sutra and stole this mysterious mystery of the Holy King sect. Unexpectedly, you have carved so many marks, but unfortunately, you are still a little worse. Today you are destined to fall into my hands. If you obey me obediently and submit to my Holy King, I may still give you a way of life. The overlord of the Holy King sect was very tyrannical and had approached Weisuo while sneering again and again. We saw that Weisuo did not fight hard with the sect master of the Holy King this time, but he stepped out in the air and crossed the void for nearly 40 miles. I have already prepared the Tiankai Shenkai for you, even if you want to run, you can't run at all. The sect master of the Holy King sneered again, a piece of silver and black, seems to be inspired by the ancient characters twisted by countless silk threads, but a silver-black light sphere was instantly formed above his head, and the diameter was 1 foot long. Like a little star, emits countless rays-like substance. As soon as this thing came out, he and Waisaw were like magnets that attracted each other. His entire person blasted towards Waisaw at a faster and faster speed. Weisuo once again launched the whole virtual footwork, and he couldn't get rid of it at all. The speed of the Saint King Sect Master was getting more and more open, as if moving continuously, and soon came to him. When Sovereign Saint King shot with a palm, and once again slammed with Weisuo's other arm. All the silver light patterns outside Weisuo's body were shattered, and a fiery star appeared on the iron lotus suit, trembling violently. Click, click. Weisuo's arm immediately made a lot of bones breaking. When the Holy King Patriarch and Weisuo seemed to have only one meal in the air, and they were pulled closer by the power of the silver-black light ball on the Holy King Patriarch's head. The Holy King Patriarch once again slapped towards Weisuo, but it was blocked by Weisuo's previous arm, and once again made a sound like the sound of a sacred bell, for 9 days. Flame of Fireflies also dare to fight for the moonlight. What's the use of adding this suit? Your physical recovery ability is indeed very powerful, but how many times can you recover? How many times you recover, I will break you as many times as you can't recover. The imperial power of the Holy King Zhongzhou violently reached the apex, his hands twined in light, and countless divine powers circulated inside, constantly patting Weisuo. Cack, click. Weisuo was beaten up and down again and again, and was quickly pulled closer. His body kept making a crackling sound like fried beans, and kept ringing. But at this time, Weisuo was more calm. The dual role of Yuanqi Shenzhen and Huangde Jun's divine pattern made his physical recovery very fast, without the crisis of complete cracking. Zheng. 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 While being beaten by the Holy King Sect Master extremely miserably, he was still indifferent and engraved with divine patterns. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 1079. Chapter 1066. This kind of supreme physical confrontation is like a collision between soldiers and soldiers. There is no ingenuity at all. Weisuo is going to be completely killed. This iron suit does not have much blocking effect. Even if the flesh can recover quickly, it will consume a lot of energy every time. In this way, it will definitely be killed. This kind of non-stop drawing is simply impossible to perform other spells. What kind of magic weapon is the silver black light ball above the head of the Holy Sect Master? Saint King Sect Master and Weisuo collided continuously in the air. In the eyes of all the monks around Dengxian City, Weisuo was like a piece of iron that was constantly beaten by the Saint King Sect Master. Fight back. When there was another earth-shattering blast, like the collision of two stars, the sovereign hit the chest of Weisuo, the flames were scattered, countless light patterns were broken, Weisuo's chest was beaten down and flew backwards. Out. When but it only flew less than 2 feet, the distance between the two was instantly shortened, the Holy King Sect Master was hit again, and the left shoulder of Weisuo seemed to be smashed, and countless bright stars were from the iron it was revealed in the lotus suit. Click. A light yellow crystal daolian seals the Saint King Sect Master in it, but only a meal. This light yellow crystal daolian is shattered by the Holy King Sect Master. When the Sovereign Lord of the Holy King stepped out of it one step, and his full hair seemed to be completely transformed into the law of countless vitality, exuding colorful glow and flying behind his head. Like a real Holy Spirit, he punched Weisuo's left shoulder again with a punch, and collapsed Weisuo's left shoulder again. Useless, today you are destined to fall into my hands, the voice of the sect master of the Holy King shocked the world. This is definitely a humanoid magical soldier. The supreme power is difficult to describe with words. The overall situation has been decided, and I don't need to do it at all. God of Fire Territory made a cold voice. Many monks who have received Wei Xuan's favor are miserable. Do they survive the irreversible crisis of the tremendous beast tide and the wood of the flesh, like a legendary existence? Today we will call the curtain in this way. This is the way. Did it fall here? Puff. Shen Wangzong's blow hit Wei Suo's heart, and Wei Suo coughed out a mouthful of blood, blooming countless silver glows, just like the same flower was blooming, and flew out again. Do you still want to resist? The silver and black light ball suspended above the head of the Holy King Patriarch shocked the bizarre power, and once again shortened the distance between the two. The foot of the Holy King Patriarch stepped towards Wei Suo, as if stepping Wei Suo under his feet, way from step into the ground at high altitude. When Wei Suo reached out with both hands, blocking the trample of the Holy King sect master, and the whole body instantly fell in the air. The sound of this collision was extremely sharp, and his iron lotus suit had a shrill sound that was about to crack, and the air around them was surging like a sea of ocean. I'm not ashamed, and within half of the incense stick, I will kill you. However, Wei Suo made such a voice instead. What? Wei Suo's words came out, and the entire Dengxian city was suddenly in an uproar. In the eyes of everyone, Wei Suo could not compete with the sovereign of the Holy King. This kind of supreme flesh match is exactly like two pieces of hard gold. The party with poor material will eventually be destroyed, but Wei Suo it was said so. And everyone can see that the silver and black light ball power above the head of the Saint King sect has no signs of dissipation. Obviously, it can still exist for a long time, and Wei Suo even escaped and escaped. Haha, do you think I'm a 3-year-old kid, and I want to scare me by this means? Sect Master Xuanhuan laughed wildly, thinking Wei Suo was simply ridiculous. He kept walking from foot to foot. As Wei Suo stepped on, he wanted to force Wei Suo to step on the dust. It's time to die, and I'm still talking about dreams. Sect Master Zhongtianzili I sect and the old bone god sovereign of the sect of Ningtu Zone couldn't be happier and sneered. Depending on your two ants-like characters, dare to laugh at me. Wei Suo was beaten again and coughed out a blood, but at the same time, he made a cold voice to the sect master of Zhongtianzili I and the bone god. You. The eyes of sect master Zhongtianzili I and skeletal divine monarch narrowed their eyes, looked at Jia and others. The expression was self-evident, and the nonsense of the dying person. Wait for you to die. Look at us how to deal with your friends and relatives. Be careful. But at this moment, the eyes of God of Fire Territory suddenly flashed violently, and a loud howling sounded. I will destroy you first, and then the sovereign of the Holy King. I will let the world know today that even if you and the sovereign of the Holy King join hands, they are not my opponents. Boom, just before the voice of the God of Fire Territory had not been launched, Wei Suo, who was still coughing up blood, suddenly radiated like a sunburst, and stepped towards the sect master of Zhongtianzili I sect. What? The sovereign of the Zhongtian Purple Thunder sect and the Bone God Lord shouted at the same time. A sea of thunder light and a forest of white bones manifested in front of two people at the same time. The two did not expect that Wei Suo would have to force them both in this situation. Yep. The eyebrows of the Holy King sect master also frowned sharply, and Li Mang flashed in his eyes, striking Wei Suo with one hand. Under the action of the strange silver-black light ball above his head, Wei Suo almost just moved out, and he had already reached behind Wei Suo. It is impossible for Wei Suo to get rid of him, but at this time, a strange emotion was generated in his heart, because at this moment he found that invisible. When Wei Suo was launched, he and Wei Suo and Zhongtianzi the distance between sect master Lei Zong and Bone God is less than 100 miles. Just now he didn't realize this at all, but at this moment, he had a feeling that Wei Suo was guiding invisibly, leading to such a situation. The sovereign of Zhongtianzili I sect, the bone god, and others were originally in the void on the south side, gathering the Fire King and other people very far away. At this moment, even if the Fire King is trying to shoot, it is too late. What made many people exclaim involuntarily was that Wei Suo didn't even control the blow of the Holy King. The attack of the Patriarch of the Holy King fell heavily on his back, smashing his spine, and his back collapsed completely, and a big mouthful of blood was sprayed from Wei Suo's mouth out, like a silver flower blooming in the air. However, Wei Suo didn't even have any pause at all, and the whole body continued to step forward toward the sect master of Zhongtianzili sect, the boneless god, in a state of tyranny. What is he going to do? This is not enough, but also to the two Shenqian triples. Almost all people's breathing stopped. This is an unimaginable, trembling scene. When the sovereign lord of the Holy King struck Wei Suo again, Wei Suo's chest was raised, and there were cracks on the iron lotus suit that were difficult to bridge. However, Wei Suo didn't stop at all, as if there was a chain dragging the Saint King sect master forward, even directly avoiding the head-on blows of the Zhongtianzili sect master and the bone god. The third step was taken, has collided with the avenue jurisdiction formed by the endless thunder light blooming on the celestial constellation of Zhongtianzili sect. Boom! The sea of thunder light outside the patriarch of the Zhongtianzili zone, an avenue of avenues formed by endless thunder light, was suddenly broken by Wei Suo. At the same time, the sect king of the Holy King was like Wei Xiao's shadow. He followed Wei Suo again and hit again, hitting Wei Suo's neck, and it seemed that Wei Suo's neck was completely broken. Head hung down. Zhongtianzili sect master shot two lightnings at the feet, trying to take this opportunity to distance us from Wei Suo. In the distance, Fire King and others have already approached here. Boom! But at this moment, the eyes of sect master Zhongtianzili suddenly swelled up, and he couldn't help covering his heart with one hand. It was like a giant drum thumping violently in his heart. His whole body of blood and Xuanhuan were shocked at a noticeable distance, and all casts came to a standstill. At this time, Wei Suo's hand was stretched out, and he hit the head of the sect master Zhongtianzili. What? The capital of the golden dragon on the head of the sect of Zhongtianzili zone was shot and flew up, and his head was broken in half. Blood and vitality filled the sky, making all people's hearts shrink. At the same time, a blue-black yin rushed out of Wei Suo, hitting sect master Zhongtianzili with a heavy blow, and at the same time as sect master Zhongtianzili flew out, the golden dragon emperor's armor, which was torn apart by the sect master of Zhongtianzili sect, was shot in front of him. This is a completely trembling picture. The defensive power of the golden dragon emperor's armor and the physical vitality of the three great powers of Shenqian are also very amazing. Although Wei Suo's two heavy blows, the sovereign of Zhongtianzili sect he did not directly fall, lost half of his head and screamed in the air, stumbled backwards, and was still pulling out the elixir to save himself. What? Bone Lord Shen saw the red and black screams in the half of the head of Zhongtianzili sect, and also screamed, but also issued a creepy scream, only to feel that his head was also completely chilled. What is he doing? The breath of all blades has completely stopped. Although Wei Suo struck Zhongtianzili sect master to a heavy blow, but in the blink of an eye, he also suffered 3 heavy blows. In this way, Wei Suo will not be able to support. Boom! It was at this time that Wei Suo crossed the void again, holding the golden dragon armor away from the sovereign of the purple thunder sect and the bone god. At the same time, another sound of zheng that no one could hear could be heard in his body. The clear sound of zheng sounded in his body at the same time, his body shook violently, and his body was instantly translucent, with unlimited photochemical metamorphosis, and an unspeakable temperament, which instantly metabolized in his body. What happened? At this time, the Saint King sect master had another blow, striking toward Wei Suo's back hard, but at the same time, his brow jumped sharply, sensing Wei Wuxiu's eccentric breath change. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 1080. Chapter 1067. When, like the Zhongde Lu Zhenming, deafening deafness, the Saint King sect master hit the back of Wei Suo again, the waves and the glow outside the two people, like a sea of surging waves? What happened? But many monks burst into incredible exclamation in an instant. Because the Holy King sect master's attack continued, Wei Suo's back heart did not collapse at all. Wei Suo's flesh could even compete with the Holy King sect master's flesh, evenly matched. How is this possible? The face of the Holy sect master was instantly filled with incredible looks. Before he collided with Wei Suo's flesh, it was like an iron bar striking a wooden stick. Wei Suo couldn't contend with it at all, but after this blow, it was completely a collision between two pieces of iron. One of his arms even shook. It was completely numb and I couldn't move for a while. At this moment, he suddenly reacted, and his heart shook even more. Engraved into the pattern, at this time, Wei Suo even engraved a pattern. In other words, at the time when he was just playing against him, Wei Suo was still engraving the gods. Why, I'm just teaching rumors about ants, don't you want to swarm up? Wei Suo made such a sound to the Fire King who was approaching in the distance, but at the same time, he again launched the whole virtual footwork again and again, continuously traversing in the void, pulling away from everyone distance. This is a battle between me and him. Even if you intervene, it's hard to change his fate. While repeatedly activating the void footsteps and traversing the void, Wei Suo's voice shook the sky and earth, defending against it as an attack, and in turn, constantly shooting towards the Saint King sect master. Dang! 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 He put away all the cracked and damaged iron lotus suits, and used his own flesh to fight the Saint King. Pieces of bizarre divine light annihilated between the two's palms and fingers, and the two people's bodies flowed with countless dazzling radiances. What? Almost everyone was dumbfounded. They saw that Wei Suo and the Holy King sect master were fighting hard, and Wei Suo's flesh no longer showed any damage at all, just like a piece of iron, completed a new round of forging, brilliant new brilliance. I don't think you are still secretly engraving a divine pattern. Even so, then, I can entangle you. Those remaining of you are not their rivals at all. They are still inevitable. The Holy King sect master was terrified, but he still kept making noises, disturbing Wei Suo's mind. Is it? But Wei Suo let out a stronger sneer. Boom! A real celestial dragon breath erupted instantly in the whole person, as if there was a real ancient celestial dragon across time and space, and suddenly appeared in the void. Boom! A tremendous vitality rushed out of Wei Suo's body, constantly washing on the golden dragon armor that Wei Suo pulled from the sect master of Zhongtianzili sect. Can he even refine this dragon's vitality and turn it into his own? He can use Tianlong's vitality to refine his flesh. God! Many people instantly noticed the clues and yelled in horror. Wei Suo posed a dragon shape in the air, and when refining this golden dragon armor, there were pauses from time to time, launching one or two whole virtual footwork, and a hard fight with the Saint King sect master, but the Saint King sect master, and every time he fought, there was a sharp tremor all over his body, his movements stopped, and the situation was completely dominated by Wei Suo. In just this moment, Wei Suo's flesh has already begun to surpass the sect master of Saint King. Click! A tremendous strength hit the golden dragon head, and the complete dragon armor's complete dragon head also completely cracked apart. The large golden dragon gas was instantly entrapped by Wei Suo. Boom! As soon as the Tianlong vitality of this complete golden dragon head poured into Wei Suo's body, the blood on Wei Suo's body suddenly rose again, as if there was a round of hot sun rising in the sky. When Wei Suo waved it with one hand, the silver palms shining innumerable silver rays and the rule of vitality were almost transparent, and there seemed to be countless starlights and divine power in the flowing arms colliding again. Cough. Wei Suo's palm was safe and sound, but the body of the Holy King Sect Master flew out completely, as if a piece of wood was blown out. His almost transparent palm, from the inside to the outside, kept cracking, instantaneous, whole from the right arm to the elbow. It was like porcelain, which was hit by a heavy hammer and covered with cracks. This is a thrilling picture. In the nearly transparent arm, countless brilliances are extinguished, and the divine power that flows around is broken. Immediately, from the cracked surface, there are countless brilliances. When Wei Suo did not stay any longer, but shot with one hand. Click. The pupil of the Holy King Zong shrank instantly, and the body unconsciously bowed up, and the other arm like a glaze immediately made a cracking sound. Boom. At this moment, a piece of white glowing light and countless white lions manifested, and the horror of Taoism exploded between the body of Wei Suo and the Holy Sect Master. In the supremacy of the physical body, Wei Suo Xuanhuan, who had an absolute advantage, was not agitated, and seized the opportunity to manifest the Dengxian jurisdiction. Click. The body of the Holy King Sect Master shook again, and his elbows were shattered, as if two magic weapons were shattered, and countless pieces of glass flew in the air. Don't you want to step on me under your feet? With a loud bang, Wei Suo made a roar. The fighting spirit was so high, all the remaining parts of the golden dragon's armor shattered, and all the vitality was swallowed into the body by Wei Suo. At the same time, he fiercely stepped out, even the void seemed to be cracked, and stepped on the chest of Saint King Zong. What? The Holy King Sect Master gave a terrifying scream. A gleam of light burst out from above his head, the silver and black light group split into 5, and scattered into countless silver and black rays. At the same time, his entire body flew desperately towards the Fire King and others. Ah! 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 At this moment, almost all the monks watching the battle were completely crazy, and a huge cry of exclamation sounded like a tsunami. This kind of scene is really shocking, and has caused an unimaginable impact on everyone's mind. Before more than a dozen breaths, Wei Suo was coughed up blood by the Saint King sect, and fell, but since Wei Suo's sentence was to kill the Saint King sect master's exit, Wei Suo directly hit Zhong Tianzi eye with a single blow. The half-head of the sect master Lei Zong pulled out the golden dragon armor of sect master Zong Lei Zilei, and then, even the arms of the sect master Sheng Zong were interrupted, and the sect master Zong destroyed the silver by himself black light group. Crazy escape. This gives the impression that Wei Suo is a real demon god, and the of war is reborn. It is impossible to defeat. His monstrous power overwhelmed everything. Boom. The Holy Sect Master had just fled not far away. Wei Suo had crossed the void again, and stepped on him. What? The Holy King Sect Master issued another earth-shattering scream, and a crack appeared in his chest instantly. The whole person was stepped on by Wei Suo and fell like a meteorite. Who won this battle? Wei Suo's voice oscillated between heaven and earth. What? At the time of the sound, Wei Suo had reappeared above the body of the fallen King Sect Master, and stepped on it again. Click. Ah! In the screams of the Sect Master of the Holy King, Wei Suo completely stepped out of a big hole in his chest, and the whole person slammed into the ground below. Laugh. A piece of brilliance emerged from the body of the Holy Sect Master. Just as Wei Suo stepped down again, the piece of brilliance penetrated the void. Click. The head of the Holy King sect was also cracked by Wei Suo and stepped on his feet. The whole ground jumped violently. Around a huge pit where Wei Suo and Saint King sect were located, a ring of huge waves formed by a circle of rocks and fly ash spread out in all directions like a tide. All people's hearts seemed to be completely blown is open mouth speechless. Ah! Wei Suo, I won't let you go, I will kill you. That glory appeared out of thousands of miles. but it was a 7-inch villain condensed by several kinds of divine patterns, and it made a gruesome voice, but it did not stay at all. It flashed a few times, and it was said. In the scream, it disappeared into the clouds far away. The flesh of Saint Sect Master was stepped on by Weisuo, and stepped on the bottom of the pit, and on Weisuo's body, Cabernet Sauvignon and Shen Guang pushed all the air waves and dust, and the power suffocated everyone. Sovereign Saint King, even beaten by Weisuo to give up his flesh, cast a secret technique to escape. Such an overbearing sovereign of the Holy King, he was not even protected by Weisuo's flesh. After an instant of silence, the sound of air sucking sounded around Dengxian City, and the vitality of the Holy King Sect Master stepped on the foot by Weisuo has been cut off, and the blood has disappeared. Although Weisuo did not completely destroy the Sect Master of Zhongtianzili and the Sect Master of Saint King, but in an instant, he smashed the Sect Master of Zhongtianzili from his head and defeated the body of the Sect Master of the Saint King. This prestige has shocked all the monks who watched are almost numb. It seems that I still want to kill you. The voice of God of Fire Territory came out. He was less than 2,000 miles away from Weisuo. At the moment, the sky where he was at that moment turned into crimson red, and all were full of crimson fire. Boom! A huge pillar of fire directly formed a huge red star, pressing towards Weisuo. Why, did the dog lose the wall fast? Weisuo sneered and put away the flesh of the Holy King Sect Master, while crossing the void, toward the Yuanyan ancestors who had already traveled on the side and joined together.